This week in comic books, we learn more about Clown Hunter and the secret files that aren't secret anymore because you put it out there. Over in the land of Marvel, Kang's the Thang. Like, he's got his own storyline now. We're going to roll with it. We're going to change a few things on his backstory. Okay, it's time. We can do that. Let's take a look at it. Also, in the land of Independence, did you pick up Billy the Kit? That's Kit. No, you missed out on a legitimately good comic book, and I'm going to tell you about it so you can be jealous. Also, my free comic day hauls, we're going to run through those real quick, and some cool things that are going on in this comic book community that maybe you should keep your eyes open at. Throw yourself out there. They're like challenges and competitions and things like that. So, I don't know. Maybe you're interested in some of that. If so, hang around till after that intro. Hey, what's going on, you wonderful weirdos? I'm Pocan Joe, and as always, you're pretty cool for swinging by. Appreciate having you here. And I just realized after looking at my subscriber number, I'm almost at 600 subscribers. So big shout out to all of you for watching this, all the views and subscribing, and let me kind of hang out with a lot of you in the community out there. I really do appreciate it, and thank you very much. So without further ado, let's jump into this week's haul and review and see what we got. We'll start right off with, of course, everybody's favorite, Clown Hunter. Everybody's fascinated with this character and his tragic backstory. So what are we going to do? We're going to make it even more tragic by sticking him in a prep school and getting it handed to him all the time by a bunch of rich kids now. So we got an immigrant family that was killed, and then the kid has to go to a prep school with all the rich kids and get beat up all the time because the more trauma we pack on him, the more we justify his weird ways. I don't know. But our new Jason Todd, who does not believe in killing anymore, or he's not going to kill, he still believes in killing, kind of wants him to be his Robin. Like, they're kind of like, he's like, I can train you. Like, we can do things. You're kind of sloppy, kid. And this kid's like, I'll think about it. As he's, well, he just got it handed to him by a bunch of clowns. Punchline made an appearance in here just to show us that she's still relevant, I guess. I don't really know why. So we'll move on. Shazam came out. This is surprisingly good. I'm not sure why I like it. The first issue kind of showed Billy Batson here with his kid Dean, and they're kind of working together to find the Eternity Stone. The Eternity Stone is in their version of hell, which looks like a 1960s Vegas. They're gambling in it. Get into a little bit of kerfuffle there with whoever's running that portion of hell, and then we find out Dean here has like angel wings and a flaming sword, like he's some kind of angel. It's weird, but it's fantastically brilliant. Great jokes in it, and the writing lands in it, and the dialogue just kind of fits into it's the glue that holds the story together, and it's super fun to read. So this is definitely a keeper for me. Truth and Justice came out this week. This was a weird story. This is one of those I'm going to play in the realm of the mind, right? Whether it's dreaming or as some sort of mental state where she's trapped and Mr. Destiny is trying to get something from her, but how she comes to realize that this is all not real is kind of like, the difference between when you know something and you kind of have a hunch about something, right? It was like hunch to 100% truth like that, and I thought that was just a little too quick. They could have, I don't know, made that a smoother transition instead of oh my goodness, I'm in a dreamscape, holodeck off. That's what it felt like to me. It just felt like it was just shortened and cheap at best. All right, Legends of the Dark Knight. So this is kind of a weird one. We're going to kind of go into the past. The story, there's some problems in this story. So apparently Cobblepot wants this piece of evidence where like his, I want to say grandfather or father, it was way back in the early 1900s of Gotham. So it would actually be his grandfather if it's current time. Yeah, okay, we'll work with that. So apparently he got a little frisky or assaulted one of his mates. Now, I'm not condoning that kind of behavior is acceptable by no means. And at the time, one of the Waynes, from the Gotham Waynes, was like a judge, and kind of like slapped him on the wrist and gave him the old, rich guy poke, like, don't worry about it. Yeah. So the maid goes around and takes on this alter ego as like the ghost, right? And she drops like 5 bodies. The problem is one of them was Cobblepot. Okay, I'll go with that. She didn't kill the judge. So who were the other 4 people that apparently, because this one guy did this one horrific thing and should be hung in the middle of the streets, did? Why did these other people have to die, and who were they? Like, they just kind of floated over that. We know that the judge, Wayne, didn't die because, like, near the back of the story, we find out why. He ended up dying of, like, old age or something. So, why? Who were these other 4 people that apparently it's okay that they just... Were they, like, assaulted by... What? Did she go around and, like, save all the maids in Gotham? Like, I didn't get it. It wasn't very clear to me. So, I just kind of was like, oh, okay. Bad guy got his just desserts. Okay, that's a comic book story, I guess. Moving on to Kang. I'm on the fence with this one. I don't know if I like it or not. Like, I read it, and then I was like, what? And then I kind of read it again, and I was like, still what? So, Kang goes to an alternate version or the future when you're dealing with time, and then you got this whole multiverse thing around it. It kind of gets confusing where you're at to some degree. But goes into some sort of future where or past, doesn't really matter, where he kind of grabs a younger version of himself and is like, hey, I'm going to teach you to be the conqueror, yada, yada, yada. Takes him to the prehistoric past to kind of savage him up a little bit, like the nobility of savagery type of thing, right? And conquer. Kid falls in love. People are going to die there anyway because it's prehistoric time, right? Big giant rock fell out of the sky. Right, and apparently he fell in love with the equivalent of, given the time frame that they told us, a Neanderthal. But it definitely didn't look like an Indian. Like, it was, mama was popping. Like, I ain't kidding. So he's going to do that, escapes the disaster, leaves Kang there to die, jumps through a portal, and now he's in Egypt. And as we all know, Kang was like the ruler of Egypt. His real name being Tut of some sort. So it's kind of weird. They're going to do this so you don't think too much about it, and I really shouldn't. But it's just kind of weird how all this worked. I'm not sure what time frame we're in, who we're dealing with, if we're dealing with the Kang. And then, the movie or the show, Loki, made it even worse because, there's thousands of Kangs and thousands of... Yeah, it just gets weird. I don't know. It's just too much. I just want a self-contained story so I can say, ooh, that's interesting. Oh, wow, that ended very well. Or oh, I got to get the next issue because it's such a cliffhanger, right? Instead of, like, chapters of story starting over again like they do in these time things. I don't know. What do you think? Legitimately, what did you think? Comment down below. What am I missing in this story? Next, Moon Knight #2 came out. Oh, this is good. This is good. So we kind of deal with one of those beings that can control other people mentally, but we kind of did a little bit of a twist on this, where we're adding our secretary who's a vampire, a little bloodlust going on there. We know that the mind control guy was like controlling everybody. He was hired by somebody because he's not an idea guy. He's a do guy. He says that. And then, of course, we see our Hunter Moon guy in here as well, who I am extremely fascinated by this villain. I hope this doesn't turn into what I originally thought Kindred was going to be. When I got all excited about Kindred, and then, oh, it's somebody from Peter Parker's past. It's an Osborn. I hope it doesn't turn into that. Like, we know it's not somebody from his past, but I hope it's legit just as cool as they're making it out to be, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Next, Bounty Hunter. War of the Bounty Hunter. So, this was a boring issue. I'm just going to say that, right? So, Leia and her crew, they have a little kerfuffle. With Boba Fett there, while Boba Fett's trying to get his body. Vader shows up to take Han Solo's body that's in Corbinite, and like somebody's got a problem with it. Somebody's got to pay. Jabba the Hutt sets down, but young lady that runs this Crimson Dawn thing, all of a sudden she pops into ninja mode. She looks like a 12-year-old girl. She's flinging swords and lightsabers or something around. She's been taught, and Vader recognizes this. Now, I have seen every Star Wars movie that has Vader in it. I have never seen Vader give a compliment to anybody he's been fighting. He does not do that. He just kills you. That's his thing. He's a bad guy. He doesn't do good things. Unless, of course, he wants to see his son with his own eyes. The big ending arc there. But definitely not in the beginning, first meeting somebody. So that I found that to be a little out of character. And honestly, I don't know if this is just a ploy to introduce another strong female character into a storyline. I feel like that's what they're doing here. Not that there can't be strong female leads, but I would assume, as you're watching this, that we all were reading this because we wanted more of that Boba Fett going on, right? Like, we wanted that. But I got a feeling that the story's going to get taken over, and we're going to end up finding about, this whatever lady she's supposed to be. I don't know. All right, Amazing Spider-Man. This is Sinister War. So we got another team popping up. Another team of 6, of course, because that's kind of the thing here. A lot of 6s going on. A lot of baddies running around. And that's all this is. It's just mass confusion of battle after battle after battle. Getting thrown around, getting forced around. Kindred's in the background, or Osborn is in the background talking about how he's going to pay for his sins. The cool thing about this is the last team that popped up, remember that horrible storyline with Sin Eater? Yeah, well, he popped up, and, yep, you see who's there, right? You see the Juggernaut, and I think that these are all characters that are dead, that have been resurrected, like Sin Eater was. I'm pretty sure Juggernaut's dead in this one. I'm not sure who 2 of these characters are. I know the Tornado. So I don't know. I hope that's the case there. So, I mean, if you're going to go ahead and just flood this with every type of villain you can just to make it exciting. It's been a little dead lately. I hope you just add all the elements, like the super vicious ones, the kind of campy cartoon character ones, and then you got, like, the original OGs, right? And it just makes sense to have, like, a supernatural dead team as well. Because how else are you going to pigeonhole this story to people? All right, jumping into Independence. Second Chance. This was a surprise pickup for me. I saw this there, and I was like, ooh, yeah. Let's check it out. And it's good. It's about a guy who basically did what the Winter Soldier did when the Winter Soldier had his run 2 years ago, where he kind of sets people up for a second chance. Like, they screwed up something bad in their lives, so they need to disappear. So he fakes their death, gives them new credentials, gives money from life insurance to the people, and then kind of hides the guy out someplace to go live a new life. That's kind of his job in this. And they got this really cool, I want to say, cross between, like, super detailed anime, I guess is the best way to describe it. I'm not really sure how to describe the art in it, but I like it. It's all done in, like, this grayscale type of thing. Thank you, Cardboard Crazies, for teaching me what grayscale was. So they kind of got this stylized art in here. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of anime-ish in some areas, and then other ones, you obviously a very American influence. But, like, the parts that I keep looking at, they're, like, super stylized Asian, right? Like, you see that, right? The robots with the giant guns, and it's just ridiculous. Yeah. So, basically, he's got to save his friend in here. Failed at that. Decides to go check on the family. Apparently, daughter's been turned over into the bad person, and apparently the bad person pulling all the strings in this is an ex-friend, maybe lover. They kept that vague. Associate of his, if you will. I thought that was interesting. I like the concept of this. It's not superhero-y, I would say, but it's a great noir type story, and I think that's why I like noir, especially updated noir. So this is really good for that. Elric. If you're not familiar with Elric is an old story. It was originally done by Michael Moorcock. This is the adaptation of it, and this isn't the first or the ending story. This is kind of the middle, the quest portion of it, where the albino elf has to go to the lost city, and just like any quest stories, there's stages and things he has to go through to get through this. It's a very classic story. I picked it up just to see how big of an adaptation it was. It's not crazy. It's been updated. The dialogue's fresher. The art in it's definitely fresher because the original didn't have any art. Just some. Nothing interesting. And it's just a fresh take on it. So if you're familiar with Elric, you would probably enjoy this. If you've never read Elric, the albino elf, This is probably one of the better jumping on points for the story, so I'd probably stick to this. It's where the most action and stuff happens. First, my pick of the week. Let me tell you right now, I saw this. It's Billy the Kit. All right, Kit in this term is the, I want to say the British term for Ken. It's a weird terminology for Ken, right? So basically, I thought this was going to turn into a Yosagi Jimbo, meets the West type of thing. And I was like, oh, I'll get it anyway. It's super cheap. I've never heard of Blue Juice Comics. Never heard of them before. So I was like, let's give it a read. It's $5. It's a one per store variant. Why not? And I read it and I was like, oh my God, it's not what I thought it was at all. There's a little bit of a play with Eastern and Western philosophies, maybe even religion to some degree, because the bunny in here starts off very religious. But then it kind of takes over with the samurai type story where he wants to avenge his family because a tornado came down. He learns that tornadoes are actually a type of god, and he's like, well, there's only one true god. They kind of have that moment in here. But the old goat that's trying to teach him, or not teach him, just ignoring him right now, obviously teaches him at some point. He turns into like a badass gunslinging rabbit because they kind of jump forward to a secondary story in the back of it. So you kind of get two stories in one, so you're not having to chase this down. It's really good. I love the artwork in it. I love the dialogue in this too, because they nail that very unique Texas accent. That right there at the border of Texarkana, if you've never been there, they have a very unique accent there, and it's very stylized in here. Very stylized. And I was just like, oh my Lord. So all my friends out there in Texas, I hope you know what I'm talking about. It's such a big state. I don't know. If you're up that way, you know what I'm talking about. And you can actually read it in here. And it's beautifully done. And I can't say enough about it. All right, jumping into my free comic book day turned into, well, maybe not so free. I'll tell you why. So we got the Avengers stories. This is a Hulk wanting to run away from everybody. Drops MODOK, drops a bunch of other people in it. I thought it was a great story. It's the Avengers story we've been wanting for a while now, and it definitely delivered. Let's see here. The Boys, Herogasm. It's a reprint of Herogasm. Don't let your kids read this. Legit. Moving on. Entering the House of Slaughter. More just backstory. We find out the house has rankings, which they operate as a military unit, so that only makes sense. We could have figured that out. For some reason, I got two of those. I'm not sure why. We Live. If you've been following We Live, this probably meant a lot to you. However, I haven't. I think I got like the first two issues of it, so it just really didn't mean much to me. Cool story, bro. That's all I got for it. Let's see here. Trailer Park Boys. So I love Trailer Park Boys on Netflix. I think that show is hilarious, and I think it's genius in its own right. I love the humor of it. They definitely carried that over into here. Several stories in here, all kind of based around, of course, their ways of how to make money, I guess is the best way to do it. King Shark. The okay story. That's really all I got. Like, I guess I don't know. He's got to go through some trials underwater. And Amanda Waller makes him take a vandalist with him. I don't even know why that's a character. Spider-Man and Venom. This was okay. For the most part, we get more of the Ben Reilly story in here. If you're familiar with the Clone Saga, the original one that nobody quite understood, you can try in the comments to make it make sense. That thing had more plot holes in it than anything else. But yeah, he's here. He's back. And this Batman. Batman Special Edition number 1. This was actually pretty interesting. I did enjoy this. The first story. The second story was just more backstory about the new Batman, or the I Am Batman. But this deals a lot with the fear toxin and how it works. And because they were on sale and they were there, I went with the 1 in 100 copies of King Shark, because I will say that is a cool cover. The Virgin variant, and the 1 in 100 of Batman 1 Special Edition as well, because that's just a classic Batman thing there. All right, real quick, what's happening in the community? Check it out. Legion of Comics, right? If I remember, I'll have that link down in the description. He's almost at 1,000. He's like some weird number right now. It's almost there. Whack Comics is almost at 1,000. Cardboard Crazies just hit 500. All these cats are having different competitions where you can get out there, show your face, and enter their little contest and get some cool prizes for it for the most part. So definitely put yourself out there and get yourself some of this stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to make videos for all of them and try to win all of them and take everything for myself and then watch everybody sit there and scream FOMO. There, I think that's an even challenge. So definitely get on out there and check some of these guys out. I'll remember to put the link in the description. I'm probably going to be working on my daddy's toy chest video immediately following this video. I'm going to go out and find a toy, and we're probably going to destroy something. So now you know you need to step up the game. All right, guys, I got nothing else. I got to go destroy toys apparently. All right, take it easy. Bye.